Hello friends, you're with the Lonesome Gamer, and I'm playing Empires of the Middle Ages. So the year is now 921, and we've seen a few very interesting rounds. Here we had massive conflicts in the south of France, northern Italy, and also here in the south of Germany. You can see there's a lot of unrest markers everywhere. And yeah, in addition to that, for I don't know, nearly 100 years ongoing war now between the Germans and northern Italy, we see now also a war between the Muslims here from Spain and the Franks. The Muslims, they attacked here. It seemed pretty reasonable. They had a good leader and a very solid economy, quite a bit of money, and they had a good success at the beginning, taking Aquitaine and Anjou. They were able to isolate Toulouse, Provence and Lombardy, so we had unrest everywhere. But then Otto I showed up, and he is a very strong military leader, so it was possible for the French player to fight back, and now it seems like he might even be in a better position here. And we see a magnet showing up here in Poland, so he might have a chance to do some attacks and to do some damage. Maybe he can build himself an empire. Let's see where he's gonna attack. I'm not sure what the tiebreaker is, but he will go either for Pomerania, Prussia or Lithuania. So I'm gonna check that. Okay, so he would go for Pomerania because that's most similar in religion and language. Let's see. That was not successful. He has a combat rating of 5, so it's a 6. Minus 1 is a 5 again, and then the pagan religion is different. Each pagan religion is different, so that means he would be at 3 then. But this is a success, so this is then reduced by 1. And by the way, the base also drops by 1. Okay, so this guy is now also part of the magnet. The interesting thing is, if he would get killed here, then he would take over the magnet's kingdom. So that would be definitely interesting. He would then start a kingdom here in the east. So the magnet has 2 more attacks. He always keeps 1 card for defense purposes. So I'm going to roll if he goes now for Prussia or Lithuania. Or he might even go, no, that's, yeah, either Prussia or Lithuania. Okay, he tries to take Prussia. And let's say he attacks from here. So let's see what we get. That's a conquest result again. So this is reduced. And he might actually have the option to grow pretty big here. There's no enemy there, at least not at the moment. And then he would obviously attack, well actually it's not so clear, he could also attack Livonia or Lithuania, so I'm going to roll a die there. And it's going to be Livonia, and that's also a success. So that also drops down to a 0 and is now part of his empire. So he is indeed pretty successful for now. Okay. So we start with Otto. He's the best leader. He wants to go first. And yeah, now I think it's time for these two guys to negotiate. I mean, it seems like the Spanish player is in a worse position simply because Otto has clearly a better combat rating. And he seems also be a little behind when it comes to economy, although I'm not sure about that. It's a 2, 4, 5, 7, 1, 5, 7, 8. Yeah, okay, that's not a big deal. Well, actually a 9 down here. So I think both players can see that there will be no quick victory here in this conflict. So maybe they should come to some kind of agreement here, because otherwise it can go on for a very long time. We've seen that here between the Kingdom of Verona and the Germans. That conflict went on for so long, and it weakened especially the Germans, which seemed to be so much more powerful. But in the end, they simply didn't make it. Now they might have a chance, but only because a few, kind of, the leader dies airless here. Some kind of coincidence, some kind of events came up here. Otherwise, it could have gone probably even longer. And it's not over yet. So maybe it's a good idea that these two guys manage somehow to make peace. We'll see how that works out. Okay, it's very hard for the Spanish player to come to an agreement here, because obviously there is no space where he can expand into. And now he lost Aragon, and I'm not sure what we're going to see there in the future. For now, there was this kind of feeling, okay, let's stop it for now, but I don't know how long this will hold. It's not an official peace treaty or something. It's just, okay, maybe we can recover. Otto was willing to improve his empire, to rule a little bit, to get rid of his unrest. And the Spanish player sees simply that he is militarily not up to the strength of the French leader. So therefore, both sides have a reason to say, okay, we're gonna come down for now, but in the end, this is possibly a conflict that will continue, simply because if Spain wants to expand, they don't have any spaces to go except into French territory. Anyway, I think for now I'm going to use at least some cards to improve my to simply improve my territory, and I might keep maybe 2 cards or so for defensive purposes as a French player. Well, that wasn't too great for Otto. He managed to rule once here. He failed a fortification action in Aragon. He managed to take back Aquitaine. So this becomes Christian again. But that's all. He has to keep 2 cards for defense purposes. And we'll see if this is good enough. And now it's Verona. And they only have a single buck. So there's not a lot they can do. They can try to rule. The problem is they don't have any income. Yeah, that sucks. I think they do the taxation. That gives them a buck. But first I actually have to draw a card. Feudal aristocracy grows in power. Each player must remove 1 palace marker from 1 area in his empire other than the court area. Okay, well, that's not interesting here. So, yeah, that's the thing here. We want to tax. That gives me a buck. And with that, I can at least do 1. I don't know. I mean, I could try to do an attack against Tuscany, but then I don't have any money left. I could do a pillage action. Maybe a pillage action against Lombardy. And maybe in that way I can get a little money. That could be an option. Okay, he did a pillage action against Lombardy. That was kind of successful, but he didn't get any money out of it. Now he tried it against Tuscany, and there he actually did get a G result, which means we can now roll here on that table. And that is a 4. Well, that gives him 2 bucks. That's not too bad. So now he's got 4 bucks. That's enough to play his 3 cards for defense. So, well, maybe that helps for now. So we see now the German player drawing his event card. And that is a leader dies airless. That is very good for this guy because the German player had a 9. And that might again save him from dying. It's pretty crazy that he still so seems to survive this situation. So each area receives an unrest marker and is checked for rebellion. Gonna do all that, and yeah, so probably that means that Verona will survive a few more decades. Well, the German player basically decided to consolidate his position. He ended up with this 5 leader, 5 combat value, which is still pretty good. So it is still a reasonable position to attack Verona. He's not that bad. And yeah, he managed to get rid of the unrest here in Friesland, Lorraine, also in Franconia, but then he did some taxation and it came back. He also managed to get rid of the unrest in Bavaria, and he used his 5th card to do an attack against Switzerland, which he managed to take. So yeah, we'll see how this continues. And now we come to the Irish player, and we have a year of famine, mainly here in the northern areas. So and then his goal is probably to take Wessex. So sadly, after a fairly long reign, the Byzantine leader, which was really great, of 555, he now died. His heir is not good at all, a 3 and a 2. But his father left him a really wealthy and stable kingdom. Yeah, it's looking pretty good here. Think I might want to try to rule maybe the Naples here, so I'm going to pay $1 and +1 modifier. Yeah, I'm just going to go for it. Well, that didn't work out, so I lose 1. Okay. And apart from that, nothing too exciting happened here. Okay, it's pretty crazy to see that the Byzantine player has now $130. So he's pretty much at the point where I will not allow him to hoard more money, because otherwise it just becomes ridiculous. So I think one more turn. I mean, he has a few unrest here going on now, but still I think in the next turn he might come to this. And I think he generates about 16 or so. So 1 or 2 turns and then he will be at this 150 barrier. Beyond this, I won't let it continue. Okay, we haven't seen too much interesting stuff happening here. The Spanish player got rid of his unrest here. There was a year of famine here in Asia Minor, which wasn't too great. We also saw some unrest due to taxing here in Anatolia, Cilicia and Macedonia. So a little bit to do again for the Byzantines. But an interesting point is that there is now again a card of these enlargement of king's personal domain. And that is very important for the Kingdom of Verona, because this is already their second card now. So that basically all their income they get from the domain of the king. And that's kind of funny. The German player kind of consolidated himself here. He did a ruling action, Bavaria and Franconia, and he did just a few attacks against Verona to force the king here to pay a little bit of money, spend 2 cards to defend himself. So his options are now again very limited, only 3 cards. I'm really not sure what to do here. I mean, maybe I should attack Tuscany. Maybe that's the best I have for now. It's at least reasonable rich. You know, even if I manage to take, for example, Switzerland or Lombardy, these are so terrible areas. They don't give me any income. But Tuscany, I only need 1 more success there because I already have a partial attack there. So I might be able to take that, and then it's not too hard to get a little bit of income out of there. So I think I want to try that. I'm going to spend my $2, and that is a success here. Sadly, the target drops down by another 1. But hey, it seems like I have at least another area back now. So there we are. And then I'm going to rule, and I'm going to rule in my home area. And that was successful. It goes to a 0 now at least. And I'm going to try it again right away. And fuck, that went down again. So it remains at a -1. No income for me. All I can do is take $2 from these 2 cards from taxation. That's all that happens here. Pretty bad. But we also see that the German player, he doesn't have a ton of time, you know. The other guy might recover. But yeah, I mean, on the other hand, we have so much income compared to the other guy that in the end it will be good enough to win this. So we had our second scoring round. I rolled a 10 here, and of course the Byzantine player, he managed to do a ton of points here, 72 more points, so he's quite a bit in the lead with 133. Then we have the French player, 104 overall. Red isn't doing too bad. The Muslim player with 83, and then 76 for the German player. 54 green, and only 19 for poor orange. I mean, I don't pay too much attention on that. I just want to, I don't know, I just want to somehow keep a record here on how the different powers are doing, and yeah, maybe in the end we'll see some surprises, who knows. In Byzantium, the leader died airless, and it is a complete disaster. We have everywhere unrest. He was kind of lucky. Only Cilicia did actually revolt, so he lost that. But there is a ton to do now, and the leader is not of a great quality here. We'll see if he can repair that stuff. He's got a lot of money. We might use some of that. And we have, again, twice in a row, leader died airless. First here in Germany, that wasn't too bad. Only Friesland had an unrest, and we managed to get rid of that. During the taxation, we ended up with some more. I mean, overall, there is a lot of unrest now here, but these are not that important. And now we see in France, and that means that Otto dies, and that is obviously a shame. So he is removed from the game now. And we see now not of the leader's language, so we have to place an unrest here. And we got to check Flanders and Lombardy for a rebellion. Yeah, that's definitely one in Flanders. Pretty sure. I mean, we can reduce that by 2, but still, well, let me see. I mean, I think it's just 1. We have a 5 there, 6 because of the different language. We can subtract 2, so we end up on a 4. Yeah, but we had a 12, so that means Flanders will rebel, and that is terrible because this is a really valuable province. A +3 province. The claim goes away, the fortress goes away, the cathedral goes away. That was pretty horrible here. And then we're gonna check Lombardy, and they're good. So yeah, that hurts, no doubt here. And then we got to roll, and we see with what leader values we end up. So he ended up with a, well, I mean, at least a good administrator. Combat rating is terrible, just a 2. But still, I mean, maybe he can try to stabilize his kingdom. And we'll see. I mean, there is now again, of course, a threat here from the Muslims now that Otto is gone. So, So after a long time where nothing of interest happened, we might see a big coalition now, or we will see a big coalition now forming against France. The Muslims, Verona, and the Germans. They've decided to take down France. It's the second strongest player, and he's now in a position where he is pretty vulnerable. He's got a really crappy leader in combat, only a 2. And many of his areas are pretty weak. If they give him too much time and he can improve these areas, then he'll become an amazing power, economically seen. He already has up here really strong areas, a +3, a +3, a +4, a +2. This is extremely impressive. But I think it's still a good chance. If we work together, 3 of us, we will have a good chance to bring him down, especially because of his bad combat rating. And now the German player managed to get a 9 combat leader. So this is really looking good. This guy also has a 9 combat leader, the Kingdom of Verona. So I think we have a good chance to overthrow him. The plan is to give the red player here the west coast, Toulouse, Aquitaine, Anjou and Brittany. I mean, Brittany is not part of this yet, but still. And maybe Normandy, I'm not sure about that. We got to find a way for that. But as long as he is such a crappy combat guy at 3, I mean, he's not that bad. But the German player is at 9, so he probably has to say, okay, I give you Normandy. And of course, Aragon. The German player will take Flanders, Champagne, probably Normandy and Ile-de-France. These are hard to take, especially Ile-de-France has a population rating of 3. That's not going to be easy at all. And then we have, for this guy here, we have Lombardy, Provence and Burgundy, also very rich provinces. And I think more or less, at least these 2 were 100 years ago already his provinces. They should be easy to take because they are all very weak. And technically that one is not a province of the French player. So that's the plan. And let's see if we can do it. I think it should be possible. We start now the attack here. The French player had to go early in the turn because of his bad leader. And now this guy is number 5 here. So, and this guy will be number 6. So right now, he has only 3 cards left. But the French player can't defend himself. So I'm going to attack Champagne, because that's hard to take, and if I'm lucky I can take Flanders and Champagne, but we're going to see about that. Let's do... Yeah, I think I want to go with Champagne first. So let's see, I mean, I'm going to attack from Lorraine, so that's a 2. So I'm at 11. I got to subtract 3 for the social state, which brings me to 8. I got to subtract another 2 for the different language, which brings me to 6 then. And yeah, I think that's pretty much it. So I'm going to pay $2, and I think maybe 2 more, and that should be enough. So I'm at 8, and I didn't make it. That sucks, obviously. So my base is simply reduced by 1. And yeah, not good. Not a good start at all. So I think I got 2 more left here. I think I'm gonna go for Flanders now to do at least some economic damage here. So I'm going to attack from Friesland this time, and this time it's the same language, so I don't have such a high modifier. And let's see, got to pay another $2 here. Okay, let's gotta. Well, actually, I do know it's just a related language. Anyway, we got a -1 because of the social state difference, so it's 8. -1 is 7 for the related language. That's it. So let's see, 7 should be fine. And again, I fucked up, and what's even worse, my leader died. That's very, very bad. Extremely unlucky here in this first attack. Yeah, that's bad. Okay, let's see what we get. We need a good combat value here, but that sucked horribly. And that's a 10, so it seems like, okay, that's only a 2. There goes our great plan. Maybe we should, I mean, still, we have a numerical advantage here, but this is, of course, horrible. Oh boy. That's from a 1 in administration, it goes up to a 2. Great. What an idiot that is. I mean, that was extremely unlucky here. And diplomacy. Oh boy. From a 3 goes to a 2. Great. I got the worst leader ever. 2-2-2. Horrible. Anyway, I think I'm gonna go for it again. I mean, shit. Yeah, that sucks. I'm gonna try to take Friesland or Flanders down anyway. So, shit. I really don't know. Well, let's see. I gotta spend $2 now to attack Flanders, and I think. Yeah. Oh man, so I'm at -2, so I'm at 0 basically. I'm at -1. So I'm gonna spend 2 to do the attack. And I fucked up again. Great, oh that's great. Shit, that's pretty frustrating actually. So I'm at 0 here. Wow, I ruined this shit. Gonna try to tax a little bit and we'll see where this leads. So it's the Kingdom of Verona at the end of this turn, and we have a dynastic inheritance. Okay. So, I would get a claim. No, I don't. Shit. Well, anyway, might be a useful card one day. I'm going to discard Byzantium, which is definitely not a useful card. And now let's see. I'm going to go for Lombardy first. I got to pay $2 to move in there. And I'm going to attack from, I think from Tuscany. That should be okay, I guess. I got a 9. Yeah, that's definitely good enough. So that is my first success. I gotta do 2 to take Lombardy, so we're gonna try it again. Gotta pay another $2 here. And I took it. That is quite nice. Problem is that it doesn't give me any money. I mean, it's nice to have it, but I have very, very little income. That's my problem. So now I'm going to attack Provence. And yeah, let's see what we get. That is also a success. So that was the first one, and we're going to do it again. We're going to pay. We got a tax now, so we get $2 out of these personal yeah, we got to pay all that. So let's see. And this time it didn't work out, which kind of sucks. And I don't have the money to continue my campaign here, but maybe someone of my allies can help me out, and I think that's going to work. So he's going to pay another buck for me. And of course we're all interested to do some damage here, and this worked out actually very nice. So I also control Provence now. But again, the problem is it's worth nothing at all. So how did this conflict continue in this turn? The German player, he basically ruled his area. There was also a year of famine and all, so we were quite fucked up there. He managed to get rid of some unrest here, took some taxes, and I didn't even know if he tried an attack. I think he didn't, because he was busy dealing with his own area, and because he had such a bad leader, he wanted to keep some cards to defend himself because the French player went after him. The Spanish player did an attack, managed to grab Aragon. The French player, he tried attacks against Lorraine, wasn't successful. The other guy had the cards to defend himself here, so basically he just burned some money. Then during taxation, he screwed up in Flanders. There was even a rebellion going on in Flanders. No, actually that's not true. He started the attack from Flanders because that was a +3, and because the attack failed, and there was already, wait a minute, yeah, there was already unrest there, exactly. I think that's what the reason was. And therefore we had a rebellion there, so then he had to retake Flanders. And yeah, that wasn't too great for him at all. This guy hadn't done anything yet. The reason why I'm back now is because I thought it might be kind of interesting. The Irish leader died, and he has now this diplomacy 9 guy. So it might be a good time to do a diplomatic action here. He tries to grab Brittany. There is no defending leader there, just the default player basically. That's a diplomatic strength of 3, which isn't too impressive. Same religion, same language. So no negative modifiers here. He only has to play an additional buck because of the English Channel. So he pays 2 bucks here. And that brings him then to a 6. I wonder if I should pay a little more. Let's place 1 buck more. So it's a 7. And then we see what we get. Nothing. Great. Well, okay. I think I want to try that again. Pay 3 more. And nothing. Fantastic. Well, actually, I forgot. I can even add the diplomacy here. So maybe I should. I don't have to pay that much, actually. So I think I'm going to pay another one here and another one for the channel. And try it one last time. And wow, that was bad. So no results here at all. I'm gonna tax my area, and maybe I can go for another one then. So doing these videos is actually pretty strange, because I do these, for example, that video that I'm doing now, I do that now over many days. I think it's about 6 days or so that I'm doing this. You know, I'm only doing often a single turn per day, because this is very fatiguing. It's not that interesting to do these things, and I got a lot of other stuff to do, and it's terribly hot outside, and you know, it's really hard for me to get to this and to try to push through all these long years, and there's just so little happening. So it's kind of strange, and I come back to these things talking for 3 or 4 minutes, and then I come back the next day, and it's a strange feeling to do these kind of playthrough here. Anyway, let's see what's happened during the last turn. Basically, we've seen, I don't know if I already mentioned that, Aragon was taken back by the Spanish player. The German player managed to take Flanders. But of course, all the areas are in a pretty bad shape, like in every war. The Magnate, by the way, managed to expand his empire massively. I mean, he controls now nearly whole Eastern Europe. It goes here from Pomerania to Novgorod, Smolensk. I think he doesn't control Kiev yet, but these 2 areas up here. However, that also did cost a lot to the quality of the areas, because these were really rich areas, often with +1, +2, but they're basically ruined now. You know, that's always the problem. You attack, you lose something from your base, the target area drops, you don't make it, you gotta attack again, you might not even be able to attack, so you has to pillage and so on. I did that all off camera, but after a while, you know, if you play for a few rounds and you have war going on in a specific area, and that is pretty amazing actually. In a way I like that. So if you have a war going on over a few rounds, over a few areas, these areas are simply wrecked. They are ruined. The social status goes completely down. And what has been once quite an attractive and rich area, Eastern Europe here, is now just absolutely poor. And we can see the same here, in that area here, where there was this, and also here, you know, everywhere here, Switzerland, Swabia, Burgundy, Provence, Tuscany, okay, Verona, yeah, also Verona is at -2, you know, Anjou, Aquitaine, Toulouse, all these areas where we've seen basically a constant war going on, they're nearly all at -3, even though they are ruled, but still, I mean, this is a disaster for the countries, basically. The Byzantine player is doing his own thing. He managed to take back Cilicia, which he lost because of a revolt. He took it now back. He has a pretty rich, at least core area here. These areas, they're always doing pretty well. Sometimes they're dropping a little bit if the leader is not that good. If we see a famine or something, he manages then to rule them and goes up a little bit. He doesn't really find the time to improve these other areas in southern Italy or here Serbia, Bulgaria. It just doesn't work out quite well. But okay, and then he's now at the point where it's now the top. You know, he has at $150, and that's it. He's not gonna go above that. My house rules don't allow that. It just doesn't make a lot of sense then. So that's it. And yeah, he's got to live with that somehow. It's a ton of money, and okay. Yeah, we wanted to see what the French player does to defend himself. I mean, he has 4 cards left. He still has quite a bit of money. The attacking players are very weak kings. They are 3-3-2, 3-2-3. He's also pretty bad, 2-5-2. The only good guy is the Lombardian player here, or the Kingdom of Verona actually, with a 9 combat rating, but he doesn't have any income, so except for these 2 cards here, they're allowing exactly 1 single attack per turn, and that's basically it. Sometimes he gets a little bit of money from his allies, but they are all kind of hesitating now because you know, there was this kind of agreement. You get Burgundy, Provence, and Lombardy. And okay, he's got now 2 of the 3. Burgundy is neutral anyway. So they're not really willing to give him more money, because then he might become too powerful and maybe even grab Ile-de-France or something. So they don't allow that. So we'll see what he does now. I mean, he still has quite a bit of money, although his income shrinked also. However, I mean, he has basically, overall, all these 3 guys have more or less the same amount of money, the same amount of income. He's got 5, he's got 6, and they have 1, 3, also 6. Yeah. So in the end, we could say, yeah, they all have the same. Obviously, these guys simply outnumber him 2 to 1. That's his problem. And they also have about the same reserves left. So everybody has about 20 bucks on the side or so. So we'll see how this turns out. He might consider, yeah, it's hard to tell. I mean, he might consider maybe he can move here through here to take Lorraine, Franconia. These are pretty rich areas. If he would manage to take those, he could maybe take away the income of the German player. And these are not too hard to take. They are all population 0. Still, I mean, here we have a castle. It's a different language, so there are quite a few negative modifiers here, and the German player still has 2 cards to defend himself. So yeah, let's see. And he only has an attack value of 2. Still, I think I want to try it, so I'm gonna spend 2 bucks, and I'm gonna attack from Champagne. So I got a let me see, I got a 3. -3 is 0, -2 for the language, so I'm at -2. Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm gonna spend 5 bucks, I guess. But yeah, the problem is now he's gonna simply spend 1 buck plus 3 bucks. And that's enough to reduce my number to 0. Okay. And yeah, that would have been good enough, but it isn't. Problem is, I mean, if I do that, I can do it. I'm gonna do it once more, I guess. So this time I might spend a little less because he only has 1 card left. Maybe maybe I'm lucky and I draw a C here. So let's see if I was at -2 or something. Yeah, so I'm gonna spend exactly 4 bucks. So 1 for the attack and 2. And yeah, what is he gonna do now? Will he spend his last card? Nope, he doesn't. We will see if there's a C result or not. And there isn't. It's a C2. So that means no success here. However, the target drops to a 0. So here's the problem now. The blue player is already down to 7 bucks. And this is exactly what I mean, that war is so expensive. And especially if you don't have a really outstanding leader. And if he continues now attacking here, this is now worth nothing anymore. You know, it's at 0. So let's say he does a successful attack. There's a good chance that this drops down one more, and maybe even the base does. So he might lose 2 more income, and to rule this, I don't know. And then taking Franconia will be another action, and it's not easy to do all that. So I don't know if it makes real sense to continue attacking here. It's very hard to tell. I will do another attempt on our 1 to 3. Okay, let's do one more attempt here, and we'll see if it works out. So I'm gonna spend 2 more bucks, and yeah, I don't know. I think this time I'm only at -1, right? So if I'm at 3, yeah, I'm at -1. So I'm gonna spend 1 more. So I get 4 back. Yeah. And he can simply now pay a buck if he wants to do that, but he doesn't. He doesn't want to do it. He takes the risk again. And this time it's a C. Look at that. But it's exactly what I was afraid of. The target drops by 1 and the active base also drops by 1. So in the end, everybody loses. So this is at 0. This goes away, and we can place the court somewhere else now. I think I'm gonna. That's tricky because now we have unrest in Friesland because there's no connection now between Franconia, for example. So that kind of sucks. But okay, I mean, it shouldn't be too hard for the other guy. Here we go. We place the court in Franconia now. It shouldn't be too hard to get it back, I think. So I don't know what that is. Problem is now the castle is sadly destroyed. So he's got now this -1 thing here. But yeah, I mean, it's not worth a lot. It just isn't. It's even under unrest now. So yeah, I don't know. And then we're going to see some taxing, I guess. Yeah. So at the moment, the French player only has an income of 5 bucks, and it might have been worth absolutely nothing. But on the other hand, he couldn't just wait there and do nothing. I mean, that simply wouldn't have worked either. So he gets. We have an unrest here in Friesland now, by the way. Might buy him some time, but it's hard to tell. It really is. The Irish player ended now up with his leader died again, and he's a pretty good fighter. So maybe he wants to do now the next step, and that is expansion from the islands. Although there is definitely improvement possible here in Mercia. It's only a +1. It could go up to a +3. Wessex could even go to a +4. But his ruling value isn't too great. And the point is that this is a different language. So there's quite a penalty here if he wants to rule. And it's not too likely that this would be successful. He managed to build a fortification in Northumbria, so he can tax there easier, and it's not that dangerous to get unrest there. And yeah, because he's got a good warrior now, he's now considering to expand. And I mean, an obvious target would be Brittany. Same language group. Easy to take, basically, and he might do it. On the other hand, if he then improves it, let's say to a +3, which could be possible, it's a very, very valuable province, and it's kind of in reach of these continental powers then. So I really don't know if I should go for that. Right now they leave me alone, and I'm kind of happy with that. I could also go here for these areas, Norway, Sweden, and they are actually not bad. I mean, at the moment this is -2, and they are both 0. However, they are pagan. But if I could I could try to convert them. I got this missionary fervor card, which would make a conversion fairly easy, I guess. So if I manage to convert them, it would also give me some victory points. So I guess I want to move to Norway. It sounds like a good idea to me. Costs me, of course, an additional butt because I got to cross the North Sea here. So I got to pay at least $3 for, and then we got to see, we are at 5. Now let's say I start my attack from Northumbria, then it would be an 8. I gotta subtract nothing from the social state, but I gotta subtract 4 for the religion and the language. So I'm at 4. I think I'm gonna throw in 3 more. It's pretty expensive, but then I think I got pretty good odds to do it. So let's see. And I made it. Didn't have to pay anything actually. So yeah, sadly the target drops to a -1. And I'm afraid if I have to convert the guys, it will drop even more. But anyway, the first step into Scandinavia is done here, which is kind of interesting. And if I have a better administrator one day, I might be able to improve that even further. So the king of Verona died heirless, and that means he also loses these 2 cards, personal demine, and that means he has no income anymore, absolutely no income. He has now here, nearly everywhere he's at the worst possible. Verona -3, Lombardy -3, Provence -3, Tuscany -2. This kingdom is completely fucked basically, and his combat rating is still 5, but again now we are at the point where maybe the German player says, hey, you know, you're so fucking weak. I mean, I might now say, hey, maybe I'm gonna try an attack or something, and I make peace with this guy again. I don't know, it's hard to tell. But oh boy, it's weird. This is so unstable. The whole area is so unstable down there because there's so much weakness there because of that ever ongoing war there. So the magnet finally died. This was his card. He's had a combat value of 5. There was nobody there to challenge him, so he was basically able to take all Eastern Europe, and he managed to ruin it more or less completely, which is a shame. But yeah, now he died while pillaging Muscovy. So, okay. In addition, we've seen a Viking raid here against Normandy, which didn't help the French player at all, but he didn't want to spend his valuable cards to defend himself, and also some cards against Northumbria. The castle helped a bit, but in the end he lost 1 there. Yeah. And of course we're now in a new round here. The year is now 951. So this guy has a ton of money here, and he doesn't have a very good administrator, so maybe it doesn't make a lot of sense to try to rule the empire and get rid of these really bad values here. Yeah, he doesn't need to push it much higher. It would give him a few points, but I'm actually considering to convert these suckers here, Serbia, Bulgaria, and Croatia, into Eastern Orthodox. And if I manage to, I could try, for example, to conquer, I have a tie with Bulgaria, which makes it easier. Now, if I manage to take out, I have to do a conquest action, basically. Let me see. We have here this conversion rating chart. So we have the, let me see, we got the proselytic ability rating of the player's religion. Okay, so we have a 10. What? Oh, that is subtracted from the convictional strength of the area's religion, which is Baltic pagan, I guess. So that's a 16. So it's a 6. And that, because we have a tie, I think we only have to do 3 successful conversion attempts to actually make it. So basically we need 3 successful conquest results. Now this is already at -3, so we cannot fuck it up further, so it's possibly a good idea to do it. After every conquest result there will be an unrest. There already is one, so that also doesn't matter, but I think we have to check for rebellion. Well, okay, we gotta live with that, I guess. Yeah, let's do it. I've got a +2, so I gotta spend $2 here. And then I'm at, well, I got a 3 as a combat rating. That brings me up to a 5. This sucks, so it's an 8. Got to subtract 4, so I would be at 4. I think I'm going to throw in 3 more bucks. And then we're going to draw a card and see what comes up. And it's a C. So we got our first success here. And now I got to check if we really have to do a... I think we have to do a check now for rebellion, but I want to check that. Okay, so only if the target area would be reduced by 1, which is the case here, we get an unrest and we have to check for the rebellion. So let's do that now. And that's a 10. That's not looking good. Let me see. Maybe it is still okay. We have a tie, which might help. So the problem is it's different. It's a different religion, it's a different language. And it's unrest, so that's already 9. The tie brings it down to a 7. I think we see a rebellion here. No, we don't. We're damn lucky. There is no rebellion. So the unrest remains. Okay. And I can continue, so I'm gonna do a next one, and does it all make sense? Yeah, I think so. So we're gonna do a next one, and this is now. Let me see. We got a +2 again. Oh gosh, I already forgot it. Why is that in unrest? Maybe that's a bad idea to keep that in unrest. So I want to do first a rule endeavor there, and that wasn't successful, which sucks. So we got to roll again here, and that's a 9. that should be no problem because we have here a castle. So I guess we're good. But I want to do another ruling endeavor there. And this time we're good, so the unrest goes away. And we're going to try it again to attack over here. So we're going to spend now, that's 2, it's 5, minus 4, so that's a 1 then. Wait a minute, it's 5. Minus 4 is a 1, so I'm going to throw in 6. I think I'm going to pay $8 overall to end up at a 7 here. So let's see what we do. And that worked exactly. Very good. So that was now our second success. And are we already done? We might be already done. No, we're not. We have to do 3 successes, right? Because it was a 6, and because of the tie we have to do 3 successes. So I'm going to do it again. But we got to... Nah, does it drop? No, it doesn't drop. The target doesn't drop, so we don't have to check for rebellion. But I want to try my last attempt here. And we were successful. The target drops, sadly. But anyway, we did it. So that means these suckers are now all... they are no longer pagan. They are now all Eastern Orthodox, which gives me 15 victory points. That is pretty awesome. Still, we gotta check if these guys will rebel. Let's hope not. That's gonna be close, but they are now my religion, so maybe it's not that bad. And we have a tie, so I'm pretty sure we're good. Let me see. Yeah, we should be fine. That's a 5. It's a different language, which brings it up to a 7, but then it goes back to a 5. It's the same religion. So yeah, no problems here. And yeah, that's pretty awesome. So it's going to be easier for us now to rule Serbia, for example. We could also take Croatia, and pretty cool. 15 points from before. The Byzantine player, he is doing fine. So actually, these two guys came to an agreement where they said, hey, let's stop the war. You got Flanders. And in a way that's fair, because you gave me Lombardy earlier on to help you to take out this guy, which I couldn't do because the leader died heirless and everything went to hell. So yeah, okay, why not? I mean, you can keep Flanders now. It's kind of your language anyway. And he's happy with that, because otherwise it would have been a long, long war, and he's definitely in a disadvantage here. And now you can focus against him. And the idea why the white player actually did that was because he wanted to start again to try to take these areas here. Because now the yellow player simply doesn't have any income. He simply doesn't. And I mean, there is of course still the question, is the blue player willing to help him here again? But I don't think so, because we're approaching the year 1000, and if that happens, there's a threat then from the east. And we might see magnets then showing up in Syria, and these suckers are pretty powerful. And from then on, the Byzantine player will have to defend himself again and again against this threat from the east. So therefore, he probably wants to keep his money, at least for now. And I think, apart from that, I mean, the white player is not terribly strong. So maybe this time the blue player is not interested too much in paying money to help defending the yellow player. I mean, he could do a little bit. I'm not sure about that. We'll see about this. So basically these three guys here are consolidating their position. Also the Spanish leader, he is only at 3. I mean, he figured out it doesn't make a ton of sense to attack the other guy if he has 4 cards to defend himself. So he kind of ruled a little bit, try to make money, and yeah, maybe we see kind of an end to this conflict, especially if the German player leaves the alliance, then and this guy isn't doing anything, then I think it's also not too much in the interest of the Spanish player to continue the fight here. He doesn't have a very good leader. I don't know, we'll see where this ends up. The Scottish guy, or the Irish guy, ended up with a 9 combat leader. So my idea was now to try to convert the Scandinavians to Christianity. To do that, I wanted to try to develop a diplomatic tie with Norway, which didn't work out. I only have a diplomatic value of 3 here. Basically, I invested all my money and wasn't doing too well there. And also with the ruling attempts here, yeah, wasn't too great here. There was a Viking raid which brought these very fertile areas a little down in social state, and the rest I did with my failed ruling. Anyway, so I think this is time now to load it up. Yeah, I don't know what to say about this. There's not too much happening, but I also don't feel like finishing it. Sometimes I get some enjoyment out of it, you know, to see this overall development, but then again I find it pretty boring and frustrating, and I'm not sure how long I'm going to continue that. But I definitely want to see what happens if the Muslims show up in the East. Maybe we'll see some interesting developments then. This is going to be in about 50 years, or then there is an option that it happens. I think from the year 1000 this can actually happen. So yeah, we'll see what that brings. Hope to see you on the next video or on lonesomegamer.com. Bye.